Of course, it's not. Should it be? So this is तो इधर आओ थोड़ा अपनी शक्ल दिखाओ 180. नहीं आप थोड़ा और इधर आइए. थोड़ा इसके सर के सामने आ जाओ. It is a 180-degree camera. It's 120. 120 है. Oh, you're disappointed, I see. Okay. Cool. Some people are still joining in from the other side, so I think I want to wait another minute and then we can start, Anurati.
Okay.
Okay, I have to get my notes out of the WhatsApp, which you literally gave me back the notes. It's hard. So I was actually expecting that you are here. No, 2 are online and one will. Aditi Babel will be the third speaker. You know Aditi Babel? नहीं Aditi Babel तो यहीं की है ना. तो इसीलिए तो इसका पहले उसका होना था. Sorry, this is all being live streamed.
That's okay.
She's in Bangalore, and then when she's back in March, we'll do it. So it's a series of 3. Okay, now let me just start anyway because we have enough people.
Yeah.
So hi Anurati. So some of you, I think everyone knows us even in the Google Meet, so nothing major. But what I'll do now is try to introduce Anurati and then talk a bit about what we are doing with Opopop. So Anurati is a learning game designer and researcher and a new media artist. She's the founder of Pedal, which is Playful Experience Design and Learning, which is a studio which is leading the digital game development. Am I saying this right? And design.
Yeah.
Her clients include UNICEF, OOI, Miko.ai, Columbia University, WHO, and Search for Common Ground. And previously, she was on the learning team at UNESCO MGIEP,
EP.
where she worked. उसी से पूछ रहे ना Q&A में कि what are these big
Acronyms.
Okay. Right. Where she worked on the use of games to promote well-being and social emotional learning skills. Under her artistic practice, she develops narrative games on themes of gender, culture, absurdism. She's an Arts for Good Fellow 2021, visiting faculty at NID in 2022, and a Young India Fellow 2017, and also Gender Bender Fellow grantee, which is how I kind of also.
Yes.
So the Lab 59, I think some of you here know, we've been doing these small get-togethers, not events, but just to kind of get to know people who are working in theatre, art, music, culture, and technology across Udaipur mainly. But also we have a lot of friends and well-wishers and collaborators, some of whom have joined as well on the call. Hello, Anushka, Nachiket, and Shalin. So our thought is that we've really been contemplating what it means to play games, what it means to make games, and I think I haven't played a game since the 90s probably, but after Yugen, our son was born, it has become something more interesting and exciting to explore, and what that could mean maybe for him as an idea, and for us to kind of engage in. And Anurati and I met at a fellowship. I think neither of us finished, which was on game design. I think Nachiket was also part of it. But I definitely really felt like she knows game design in a way that we don't think about. It's the same way I think about coding, that who can be a coder, how can you code, where can you code. These don't have to necessarily be a strict idea of what that can be. So when you think of a coder, that coder need not be in a hoodie sitting in a dark room with a bright screen. They can be someone like me also, who has a child roaming around. And similarly, a game designer can also be so many things, and what a game can also be so many things. So I'll whenever you want us to see your screen, then we'll have to switch off the lights. You have to give us some intimation. So I'll start by asking you, Anurati, how did you get into game design? And then we'll take the conversation from there. You can freely talk, and maybe if people want to ask questions in the middle, both on chat and here, you're most welcome to do so.
Yeah.
Aram se? Okay. Cool. Okay.
Should I share my screen? Is it okay? Okay, wait. I think it'll be just nice to
Hey guys, can you be a bit softer?
have it on.
जो हैं जो होते हैं उन पे फोकस करना चाहिए.
Don't you have any
Okay.
reply on this?
I do, sweetie.
Then why do you have all that setup? If
because
it is empty
because
and
usually in new laptops you only have USB-C, so you need to connect everything from ports.
Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes,
yes.
it is.
Okay. 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 Thank you so much, Ambika. And thank you so much for calling me as well. I think this is the first time I'll be talking about my personal game, so this is kind of exciting for me. Because it's usually about like the client-oriented stuff. And I had a lot of fun preparing the slide, which says when I say I'm a gamer, this is what I mean. And a lot of my so so just going back, my mom was a software developer, so I didn't have access to like that huge desktop at home when I was a teenager, 12, 13. And I spent a lot of time on the computer. Like I used to come back from school, I just used to put my bag and like going on miniclip.com was a major source of joy for me. There was also these educational games that I had access to, like this dog that you see jump ahead, which was just super fun. Like, you could learn so much, so many different things, whether it be serving in the canteen or like digging, in the sand for different clues on words, things like that. So that was also very, very, that's what I used to find joy in while growing up. Um, and a lot of these Polly Pocket, MyScene.com games where, it was makeover games, or whether it be give your room a makeover, design different costumes and things like that. There was also, of course, Prince of Persia and Road Rash, and all of that I used to play. But I think these were the games that I used to feel like very connected with the world beyond my means. There was this also very interesting game that I used to be obsessed. These two games were like my biggest obsessions. One was Diner Dash, where you had to kind of serve to different people. So I used to just spend a lot of time playing this game. And there was this other game called Ciao Bella. So at the outset, now if I tell you the story, it'll seem that it's a bit like sexist, but it's a product of its time. Okay, so the game was that you have to manage the life of this girl, Bella, and there were different parameters. So there was harmony, there was reading, there was fitness, there was health, there was relationships. And you would do different activities throughout the day, which would determine what parameters, like how good is your health doing. So you could go to the gym center and do yoga, and then your health will be better. You could go do work and your finances will be better, but your health will go down. It was just a very interesting game, and the overarching theme was that through 10 dates, you meet this guy on the first episode itself, and then it moves from friendship to like marriage through those 10 levels. Um, so these were the kinds of games I used to be playing. And, I know, of course, it sounds like, okay, why is the point of our life to get married? But it was also about like managing relationships, managing your health, cooking for yourself, going to work, and things like that, which I used to, I don't know, I really enjoyed this when I was young. Um, and I think not just this, then I think just early access to internet. I mean, I think now the internet is a lot of consumption and doom scrolling and all of that. But at that time, for me, it was a place where I could also not just consume or play, but also create. So I also like I think I just went into this like whole whole thing of like de- creating YouTube videos. So 16 years ago, yeah, I was big on YouTube. And it was a huge source of joy for me. Like I used to make Shakira fan videos and um yeah, happy Holi videos or like Bollywood dance videos with GIFs clipped together. I still have it. And the most exciting part about it for me was like it had like I think the first one I made had 60,000 or 70,000 likes. And I went insane. I was like, there are people commenting from Spain and like yeah, different parts of the world which I don't even know exist. And I think just for a 15-year-old, it was like, this like magic at your fingertips that, okay, there's like a world larger beyond my reach that exists. I also went into designing. I mean, now if I look at it, it's like a visual novel that I created. So this mail that you see, I wrote this when I was 15. So I made an interactive story on PowerPoint, which the story was called Channel Surfing, and it was about this girl who is just chilling with her cat one night, and then there's a thunderstorm, and she goes into the TV. And then the channels keep on changing, and how she navigates like different adventures. She goes through into a cooking show. She goes into um, yeah, she goes into some a dangerous tribal location, things like that. And I that created this and sent it to Disney Channel. Just worked on it very hard and be like, dear Disney Channel, please, I am attaching my story once again. Please acknowledge it. So these were the kind of influences I had, like, just using the internet as a means to create. And to be honest, I don't think I ever, I think even now I still struggle to say that okay, I'm a gamer or what it means to me, because a lot of the games that I make are like, okay, is this a game or is it not? Um, yeah, so those are the early inspirations. I can go into like, yeah,
Yeah, you can go
yeah,
through your journey and all, and people you can ask questions at any time.
yeah. Please feel free to ask questions, but yeah, so basically, but my journey had a lot of twists and turns. So I really used to love science while growing up. But what they don't tell you that science is the advertising, packaging slash clickbait to get you into engineering, which is not the same as science. So I ended up doing not just one degree, but a dual degree in biology and electronics engineering. Then there itself in the last 1 year, I kind of knew that I wouldn't be able to pursue this professionally. Um, so I started making like a UX design portfolio. Okay, maybe I can get a job at like some intersection of engineering and arts, because I was always growing up as like a creative person.
Or
But like
sorry, go. You can keep going.
no, tell me, what
No,
were you
I'm
saying?
just like this. I interrupt people and very rudely, and I don't mean it. It just comes out.
But yeah, so that's how I went about it. But honestly really enjoyed my college time as well. Like I think being in Goa was just it was a very calming experience. And also my college had a lot of flexibility and openness. Like everyone was doing their own thing. There was zero attendance. So you could still do like essay side by side. You could, think about what you want to do. You could do a lot of electives. I did an elective on product management, which like kind of, it helped me understand that okay, maybe it is possible to maybe work in making something, designing something, creative side of things. So I did that, and then UX design ka portfolio bana ke, like I think for 1 year, just interning at Zoom car. I realized that I don't want to make stuff that like is used to sell things. I realized matlab, it's not very fun for me. Um, so I applied to Young India Fellowship, and I thankfully I got a scholarship for it. So it wasn't like a very thought through decision. It was more like I just don't know exactly what I should be doing now. Which I did for 1 year, which is basically like a liberal arts program, and they teach you everything, like different economics and um, some amount of visual storytelling. But it's there are no design courses even there. So even while I was there, I was a bit like, a part of me was quite anxious about like, okay, I really want to get into design, and how do I keep on moving towards it? And right after that, I did a couple of like, jobs where I tested out, okay, can I work in academia in a design university? I went and stayed in Ahmedabad for 4 months. That didn't work out. Then 2 months somewhere else, and then finally I kind of got my first job, which kind of changed the course of things for me, which was at Katha. And Katha is a non-profit in Delhi, and their focus is on education. And they also publish books. So they publish books for children as well as adult fiction, a lot of translated literature, because their focus is on, just reviving Indian language, different Indian languages and different Indian cultures, and making it available to people in different forms. And the reason I was also hired, I think it was a good thing that I had like this engineering degree, because the founder, when they saw me, they have, because non-profits don't have any funds just to hire tech people or like even slightly techie people. So they saw me and they were like, okay, this person seems creative. She has an engineering degree. And then they were like, okay, you make the entire app. I was like, are you talking to me? And because it's your first job, you have to be like, yeah, I can do everything. Um, uh, so it was kind of being thrown at the deep end, and yeah, it was like I need more people. So just getting the opportunity to get volunteers on board, a few more team members on board, setting up a small like product team, 4 to 5 people in my first job itself. And the project was, sorry, I didn't talk about the project, but they have this storytelling pedagogy which they use in their school. So they also have a low income private school in Govindpuri. And the storytelling pedagogy is that basically all subjects are taught through stories. And they wanted a technology, like they wanted it to be on a digital platform. So this was a whole design thinking kind of an exercise of like first studying and researching about how exactly the teachers teach, and like not just teach but also assess the students um, on different subjects. And the topics were also like things related to culture, gender, health, but all for 4 to 12-year olds. And doing that kind of design research, and then through that, like I did like a design thinking workshop where we were like, okay, how would you teach these concepts using paper? And teachers had come up with small games, and from there the idea kind of evolved that this app should have games, and it should have stories. So just getting 6 animated stories developed, but also 30 games. So really sitting with the writers of those particular stories, and then from those 6 animated stories of shooting 30 mini games from stories. And while I was doing it, I didn't really know exactly or think this that okay, I'm doing game design. It was mostly a way for me to make like these stories more interactive, more engaging for children to use. Um, yeah, and that's how it was. I'll just show you like what it kind of looked like. So yeah, for example, this was one of the games, this mini game. Um, it was a very simple story about Lakshmi, who was this kind of a community champion, and she was standing for girls' education. And in the story, there was this monster who didn't want girls to be educated. Yeah, and it was just a simple platformer game of like collecting books and avoiding the monsters. Some of them had like learning components to it, and others were like completely for fun and engagement. And it's also implicit, right? Like because she is like the girl is collecting books and the yeah, so it's like implicit learning about okay, uh, what is valuable in society or valuable to you, instead of collecting coins. So yeah, there were also one or two games on Madhubani art that was also quite interesting. So from there, I started first consulting with UNESCO MGIP. There was a brief, uh, kind of hectic 3 month period where I was not just doing yeah, sorry, I didn't finish that story. So that app got launched and got pushed out into the Play Store, and it did really well. Um, yeah, and kids were very excited to play it. Teachers were very excited to use it.
But
Yeah, so
which game, Anurati?
the app was called Katha Khazana, and it had like those 6 stories and 30 mini games. So Lakshmi one was like one mini game out of the 30.
Nice.
Yeah.
May I help? Sorry, this is
No,
on.
no, no, please, it will be better for me because I sometimes I tend to miss skip
So
out
Lakshmi was
details.
one of the games in the
Yeah.
ha.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there were 6 stories like this. One was Abba Ka Din. Yeah, more 6 stories, and then each of the story had 5 mini games with it.
Okay.
There were 30 mini games in that one app.
The app
So
is
yeah,
still around.
yeah, it's there on Google Play Store. Yeah,
Oh, nice. Okay.
yeah, yeah. I can I can drop a link if you.
So like before these games, you hadn't built games ever, right? Before your
No,
project. So basically,
no,
this is how you got launched into this world.
exactly.
Without
Yeah.
without an oxygen mask. But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I can also go into like yeah, like what tools I used, and because it was very low fund, like there were very limited funds,
right, right.
and there was very less time, and there were barely any resources. So there was one animator on board, another visual designer, one content intern, another software developer, and one marketing person. That was just the core team. Um,
So how did you
and
see your childhood gaming experience mirror this first experience of yours? Is it okay if I interrupt you in the middle?
yeah. I think a lot of my childhood has just been about like reading and stories a lot. Um, so I think this was in a way the most apt project for me. Because it was taking from books and then extending it into the interactive world. So yeah, I think um, that was something that almost came naturally to me. Like I realized that like okay, when I read a story, there is some kind of uh imagination that happens, and then it's easier for me to imagine it into an interactable way when the words are already there. Um yeah. Uh, yeah, Kata Khazana stories and games. I can just
And
yeah,
shall
this
I
is
shall I go through our notes or no? Oh, you're showing.
yeah, you can.
This is
Yeah, you can.
show this, show this.
Yeah. So this is what it looked like. I think I don't know if you want to see pictures from the project, but like for me, this was one of the um, biggest, most like
High impact kind of.
yeah, and it also made me very excited about the space that, okay, not just the fact that you can create something fun, but it can also be impactful. It can also, like, and for me, impact is just like, okay, one person, one child plays it and says that they learned something new. It doesn't even have to be कि अच्छा बहुत ज़्यादा pre-post assessment, but like for me, this was quite exciting that, okay, yeah, you can do creative things and, it can make make someone happy even for a moment. Um,
And then do you maybe want to like
yeah.
segue a little bit into like how you've been making your own games and like what's your kind of methodology? Because I think you have kind of two parts in your game. It's like games for good, and then the second is like whatever you're building yourself. But I feel like Malika and Marzi, it's like a games for good only in a way. It's just like for like an older aesthetic. So is that something that you can
Yeah, I think your voice is getting a bit distant, but
because I'm far away. Can you hear me?
now it's fine.
Okay. So I just wanted to इसको भी म्यूट कर दूं क्या ये शायद होता है नहीं पर वहाँ माइक है नहीं हाँ किसमें I just wanted to know what was I saying only I forgot
Then Malika,
हाँ I just
Malika.
wanted to know because you were saying games for good is one stream and then there's another
Yeah.
stream of your own work but actually if you see like Malika Marzi is also games for good but can you maybe talk about it a bit and then set a context for everybody about the other games that you've been doing.
Yeah. Okay, so let me just go to yeah, so this was the games for good part. So apart from like the first project, then I was also working at UNESCO MGIP where the focus was on building learning experiences and conducting research on existing commercial games, especially on social emotional learning. So which was the focus was on like empathy, mindfulness, compassion, critical thinking. कैसे बढ़ा सकते हैं for children. So there I got a lot of like insights from what people are doing internationally in this space. How people are using games to conduct research, games to create impact and all of that. And later on came my client work, which was some of it was embodied games work, where I created dance games for Miko.ai or augmented reality STEM games with Notabot Studio. Yeah, so this is some of the games for good that we were talking about. Games for goof section, which was what I was talking about. Like, is it a game or is it not? I think all of these just came about in a way that this need to maybe express an idea that I came across, which I found interesting, and if it's told in a way that in an interactive way or in a game like format, I always think that it gives the player or like the person who's will be looking at it some kind of agency that they wouldn't get if they were either like reading it or if it was just visuals. I think which is something that's inspiring to me. But because of a lot of my personal work, which is on what is the point of this game or what is the message I'm going to get through, I always tend to have like a very strong idea, either if it's satirical or it's a reimagining or it's a retelling. So, for example, Malika Marzi was a reimagining of Mario. That's how the idea first came about. That if the princess was to save herself, and the princess is kind of going through different stages and trying to find her own meaning in life without having Mario to save her, and how can she save herself? So that was the idea, and I think sometimes just the hook is just a word. I found like Malika Marzi to be like very nice words put together. I think I can hear my echo.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hello? No, it's fine now. It's fine now. Yeah.
अनुरति,
Yeah.
गेम लाइक मारियो, मतलब ये इसको खेल भी सकते हैं क्या? ये मल्लिका मर्जी है या सुटेबल बॉट है?
Yeah, all of these are playable games. So Malika Marzi, so right now, like I think it's at a prototype demo stage. So all of these are playable. Links, yeah, I think we'll play one, right, Ambika?
Yeah,
One
yeah,
game.
yeah.
Okay,
That's why the
okay.
laptop is needed.
वो उसका पीछे का देख के मेरे को मारियो याद आ गया था.
That's why he has this child. Interested in the game.
Yeah.
He's like
Uh,
killing it. Okay. हाँ.
so मैं और बोलूँ अंबिका या
हाँ, बोलो बोलो. Go ahead, go ahead.
या
ठहरो ठहरो, मैंने नोट्स निकालती हूँ क्योंकि मैं तो मेरे पास.
नहीं नहीं it's okay. I just talk about the other games that I made. That's also
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead. I think now just maybe some of your maybe you want to do like focus on two of your goof games.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we'll ask young Rick here to choose which one he wants to.
Yes. Okay.
Is that okay?
Okay. So,
Not sure. ठीक है देखते हैं. Everybody is a winner in her game, so don't worry.
yeah, there is like no competition in any of the games.
हाँ,
So, Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge was a retelling of course, the movie. And no surprises there.
Get the rights from you. This was Yashraj, right? Yeah.
Yeah. या नहीं मैंने पहले गेम बनाया फिर उन्होंने चुराया मजाक कर रही हूँ. So basically I want to reimagine the world where if Simran had agency, what would DDLJ be like? And mostly these are just like fun experiments that I want to do and just fun writing experiments that I want to see how they play out. Um, and I think I just enjoyed writing this game a lot. And ये मैंने pandemic में बनाया था. And I used Bitsy for it, which is like a pixel-based game engine, very easy to use, and I think the focus on with Bitsy is on text. And of course there are aesthetics, but I think text is the main thing on Bitsy. And yeah, so the she goes through scenes from the movie, and she encounters people, and she has her own uh, responses to situations. Um, दिलवाले दुल्हनिया ले जाएगी where go Simran, live your life like seriously this time or something like that. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's this game, and live your life. Jaji live. Yeah.
हाँ कुछ चले नहीं मतलब
Yeah.
सब है ना दिल वाले दुल्हनिया ले जाएंगे.
And yeah, so इसमें ending का थोड़ा change कर दिया है, and just like a funny retelling. A suitable bot was something I made for a game design jam, game jam, and I made it, although 48 hours, I think it was a 72 hours game jam, but I made it in like 48 hours or like 2 days. And the theme was on media literacy. And I wanted to experiment. I've always been wanting to experiment with the idea of AI deepfakes. So like, can you spot AI deepfakes? How do you detect AI deepfakes? The premise of this game is that you're helping a bot find its suitable counterpart, and because there are no dating apps for bots but only humans, the bot is going to use a dating app for a human to find a bot, which is nice, and yeah, which is a compatible compatible bot. And So just the process of creating this game was very engaging for me. It's a multi-choice game, and although right now, because it was done in such a short time, it's in a kind of a linear format where one match comes after after the next. Um, but the user personas were something that I used ChatGPT for to create. Like, so there are four. Should I tell everyone, or everyone will play it?
I don't know. We can choose now. If we'll
Ah,
speak in another 5 minutes on some other aspects, and then the person
yeah.
elected with no democracy will choose.
Was this game hack after that Netflix series came, A Suitable Boy? Did it happen after that?
It's a play on I think हाँ play on suitable boy because suitable boy लिखी तो बहुत ही पहले गई थी ना
वो वैसे तो पुराना है, but yeah.
हाँ. I made this in December, so this is very recent.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do want to know because you shared a lot of references with me on the side during the workshop where I think that's
Hmm.
also on that. Do you mind like sharing, say, maybe if you have a library of, like saved games, or maybe you have something you'd like to share with us, or some games that you really like, and just show some pictures of it on the internet, and then that'll give
Yeah.
a sense of, because like mere man mein to game means like Wolf 3D, Road Rash. Okay, I'm a 90s girl, so but now also it's like one thing's only of like say FIFA, or I don't know what are the other like big first person shooter kind of game. What game do you play? Like,
I play Minecraft and
there you
NFS.
go. Like
Minecraft.
Minecraft. What was the second one?
NFS.
NFS, right? That's
Wolf
also
3D
racing
क्या है?
racing.
Need
Need
for
for Speed.
Speed.
So I want to know what are the other good games out there. So that
Yeah.
we're interested in, and then we will maybe expand what a good game, an interesting game can mean for us, all of us.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Let me just switch slides. I'll just share, like it's this is just random. Don't look at the text. Like this from a workshop that I did recently. But so basically, some of the games that you see here, this is Florence. This is a really nice game. It's maybe 2 hour long. So I think also duration matters a lot, and this is something that we were discussing. I was discussing with the students there as well. We were talking about how duration affects players. So when you design, implicitly who you're designing for gets um, defined. So for example, things like Wordle, because it takes such short time, and now research says that middle-aged people are the ones still continuously playing Wordle. So like my mom still plays Wordle every day. So like the how short or how difficult it is, like it's basically accessibility, right? So how are you designing for accessibility? So like I personally like when games you can finish in like 2-3 hours, max 5 hours. um so Florence is just for 2 hours, and it's an interactive story about a boy and a girl. And they meet, they fall in love, they break up, and then there is this part where she's grieving, and then she kind of heals herself. And there are small mini games within that. I really like the aesthetics and the music of the game. Bury Me My Love is also a very nice game. इसी पे research की थी मैंने यूनेस्को में, which was it's basically that it's an instant messaging kind of a game. So you are playing as the husband, Majd, and your wife, Noor, is fleeing Syria. And whenever she's making a decision or whatever jokes, or like she's basically texting you, right? And um, you as the husband have to like kind of support her and say that okay, make this decision, or this decision works for you. Um, and there are like I think 28 possible endings, and in most of them she doesn't isn't safe. So that's also very and the way, like I think one very interesting part of the game is that most games are designed for addiction, or like you keep on playing it. But like for example, for this game, there are times when you message her and for 3 hours there is no reply because it wants to like recreate that feeling of okay, um, yeah, you don't know where she is or what she's going through. Um, so that's also like the pauses and how, yeah. And this other game which is really nice is called Gris, GRIS. Um, and this is a very beautiful game, and I think this is one of the games that made me cry. एक तो like just aesthetics, music is top notch. Most of the visuals are hand done in watercolor,
Wow.
and it's about this girl going through grief, and there are no words. There are absolutely no words. Only through mechanics. और वो बताते भी नहीं है कि exactly क्या हुआ है, like what has happened. You have to kind of construct it from the visuals as she goes on. But this is kind of the like in the opening level, they want to recreate the 5 stages of grief, and in the first level she's like kind of in the denial phase, and she wakes up to a white landscape and she can barely move her legs, she keeps on falling down. So when you're actually pressing the front key, you feel like such an effort, like okay, like I can't even move ahead. And then when she's angry, there are these red landscapes, and she keeps on turning it into a cube, because she's angry, she's destroying through going through objects, and she's kind of like rigid and kind of protecting herself from like no one from entering her world. um and yeah, there are many such things that they have used. One, like her world turns upside down. Then finally she regains her voice and she starts singing, and then new parts emerge as she goes through, where like the landscape is a bit more yellow. Yeah, so it's a very interesting game which uses like no words but like symbols, aesthetics, music, to create like an emotional experience. Even Dots Home is a really nice game that, um, yeah, it's free to play as well. So I would say just
You are now.
play this game. Or did I? I think I'll just share my screen.
Yeah, I speak
This
loudly. That's what I said. I don't know.
okay. This game is also good. Huh.
So the question I had was, I was very intrigued that you were using games and digital games to teach social and emotional learning, right? And I've been a social and emotional learning educator. I've also been in spaces and with kids who have gone through a lot of trauma. And I know game based learning has its merits, but I wanted to understand from you, like, what are your do you face any dilemmas in game based learning for kids, especially the younger age? And you mentioned that you were doing user personas when you were designing games for the children. So how do you do that user persona, and how do you fit game based learning over there? And
Okay.
what's your go-to?
Yeah. What's your name again? I can't see you. So Ashima. Yeah, great question. So I think while using games for social emotional learning, it can be quite exciting, but I feel personally like games like any other medium, it might suit an audience that is already like if I'm a person who responds well to games, then game-based learning would make sense for me. I personally don't think that that one uh, uh, artifact would suit every child's needs. And I think just the dilemmas that came in were just the high. Like I think for now, I think just the Indian audience itself, like it's a very niche space. So only if you have access to a laptop or a desktop or a phone will you be able to play these games. Um, and I think all those logistics need to be in place for you to be able to make that claim. I think because I was working in the capacity of a research institute which was trying to find out whether game-based learning works in very specific metrics, like if there is a pre and post, and if it has worked or not. I think it worked in that space, but I think at scale, though, I wouldn't say it's for everyone's needs, just in terms of accessibility. um for user persona, like so what exactly do you mean? So do you mean the user persona of the person I'm designing for, or
Yeah, the
um
age group and the person you're designing for, right? Especially think about Katha, like that app is being designed for kids who probably do not have access,
yeah,
at least at that time. And to think about digital games for a group of children who don't have access. I mean, 2016 type mein, who had, like,
yeah,
it was,
right.
so what was the user persona that you were designing for that?
Hmm. Yeah. So there, very specifically, the first one was just the students, firstly, like in the schools itself. So apart from just the application, there was also like uh, a downloadable desktop-based application that we were spread like that we created, so that the kids could get access to it on the projector. So we kind of found a way that, okay, if this kid cannot access this on their phones, how might they access it in a classroom? And the classroom had a projector and a desktop, and it could be on, like, transferred via a pen drive at that time. So that was one specific use case. And then the second part was that, you of course need one-time internet to download the application, and then use it on your phone. And there were different, because of course in the non-profit space there are different partnerships to help you enable get those accesses through tab labs and all of that. So yeah, that was what was it. Yeah.
Are we ready now to play something, Rick? I'm leaving it to him to choose. So you can maybe just show the games that you have, and then he can choose which one. And you have to give me a link or something so that I can search
Okay.
for him.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is being streamed, so he's going to become a game streamer like in a minute.
Which one are you choosing?
Why not?
I don't know.
No, no. Which one is he choosing? Oh. What do you can suggest, Anurati?
You can play Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. That'll be fun.
हाँ यहाँ चैट में आप लिंक डाल दो तो बाकी लोग भी खेल सकते हैं.
Okay, fine.
पीछे से वो मजे ले लेंगे स्टोरी वाले.
He would not have seen the film, right? Yeah.
So he'll probably play it as
Come,
a game.
So is everyone playing on their wait?
We can all
Yeah, we can all play. You send the link.
On your laptop? You have a laptop?
Yeah, some of us have.
We are on a laptop right now.
Okay, okay. सबके पास है ना? हाँ. Okay. Awesome.
डाउनलोड करना रहेगा.
नहीं. ये दिलवाले दुल्हनिया only works on desktop. I mean on laptop or desktop. So that's why I was asking.
That we have anyway seen on your website.
You want to play?
All these games will work better on desktop.
Yeah. I'm like.
आज के लिए तैयार रहो, लैपटॉप की जरूरत है.
अच्छा, अब मैं स्क्रीन शेयर करती हूँ ताकि इसका गेम.
हाँ.
I didn't know Apple had. I'm shutting the light.
Come city. You can come here.
But you can meet us.
Oh, you want to play there? Oh, तो ये तो स्ट्रीम हो रहा है ना.
Come here.
मैं आपको WhatsApp पे भेज देती हूँ.
हाँ. Do we need a specific browser or something?
No. Is it Chrome, Safari, ऐसा कुछ तो नहीं है?
नहीं, I don't think so.
Chrome should be fine.
चलो नंदिती तुम्हें खेलना है. He wants to play on Ashima's computer.
लिंक भेजी क्या?
हाँ भेजी. lab. I'll give you the Wi-Fi. अभी हो गया जब तो बस तो यहाँ नहीं आ रहा. चल मैं यहाँ शिफ्ट कर देती हूँ. तू नहीं आ रहा हो तो उधर. अरे सब खेलते हैं देखो. Oh, it's on the chat. Wait. One second. I'll put it on a thing so then you can pick it up there. Okay. हाँ ये तो हमारा मेन स्ट्रीमर है. अब तो प्रेस में एरो. Yeah.
Where is the arrow? This is not the arrow.
Arrow, just your arrow.
Just your arrow key. You can go talk to him.
Okay,
And
now
he
go
should-
to that guy now. Bauji,
That's Bauji.
bottom arrow.
Again arrow. All you have to do is just press the front arrow. All the
क्या हुआ
Where
सिमरन?
do we choose?
No, this is not no choosing this time.
अभी तो चालू ही हुआ है ना स्टोरी.
वही सिमिलर तो यूरो ट्रेक में खरीदी है.
अरे वो तो आपने तो उसको यूरोप में gift किया. चल अपन आगे ले जाते हैं. यहाँ खड्डे में लेके जाओ. हाँ आ गई वो देख. क्या वो देख खड़ा है.
That's the train.
Oh Simran, you boarded the moving train.
A moving train. Great job. Great.
Okay, you can talk about it a bit while we are on this.
Yeah. So this is. Yeah. Hey girl, I'm Raj. नाम तो सुना होगा.
ले जाओ.
Raj.
Okay. Okay, you can keep talking.
We're in Punjab. Yeah. So even just.
Oh, very nice. The way you built the cake is so cool.
Thank you. So this game doesn't have any options, by the way. This is more like a yeah.
अभी है ना
Okay, so you don't get to make any choice.
No, not in this one. You, in not a bot you can. Sorry, suitable bot. So
Shade is real.
will you be able to just Simran ji let me see. And then
Going through it like.
now he's got the
Password.
mechanics na.
that's now you're going back to Punjab.
I love the visuals.
Did you all you want to follow this doofus on the train? Now that's your fairy godmother. Do female characters in 90s Bollywood films have any real agency or choice? That's the reason there's no choice.
Okay, very good.
Oh.
Follow your dream. Oh, how it is happening?
This is Simran gets a master's degree. So these are just yeah. Underground indie game developer. She goes to Romania.
These are different.
Minus the drama.
Another year minus.
Yay, she gets a PhD.
Dr. Simran.
Simran travels the world and now has a lover in every country. Yes.
Yeah. Travel. Now has a lover in every country.
Is there only one journey in this?
Yeah. Yeah. Gains and her leads her best life. Yeah.
Right, Romania, you have a question.
Okay, we finished all of them.
You finished it.
Okay, very good. You got a mark.
You got a master's degree. That's
Good,
it.
I'm happy one little boy has played a feminist game. I'm very excited. Done.
Done.
तुमने सिमरन को फाइनेंशियल इंडिपेंडेंस दिला दी ड्रिंक.
Good job. I think Anushka had a question.
Okay. One
Yeah.
question from One question from Anurati. For Anurati, how do you think multiplayer game design is different from single player? Okay.
Uh, yeah, so I think okay. So for multiplayer game design, I had two different projects where I had to develop like multiplayer games, and I feel like a large part of your time is spent in thinking about collaborative components and also how you will set up meaningful interactions between the two players so they can either collaborate with each other, compete with each other, make with each other, and also predict the nonsensical interactions that they might have with each other and how that might impact gameplay. So I think that like that prediction about what two people might do, that I think you need a lot of testing for it because I think for Miko, which was a freeze dance game, that was a two-player game that you could play, yeah, with a person and then with the bot. Um, so kind of, I think you have to kind of increase the number of constraints the people are operating under. But I know that like there are games like Overcooked where people like these are co-op games where like large groups of people have to do a job together, and I think there the entire hook is on chaos, like what will chaos bring. Uh, I mean, I have never designed something like that, but like I'm sure it will be a very interesting exercise. Yeah. Um,
She says with so much skepticism on her face.
yeah, I hate chaos, but like, yeah, I'm sure there are designers out there who can design for chaos.
So what's next for you, Anurati? How is your game design journey? Where is it traversing towards? And what are your new interests?
Yeah, so now, for now, like I think I'm at a place where I have like a stable professional practice and I'm trying to find ways where I can I think just the limitation has been as a person like who's been designing games like as a one person team for like my personal games. I now want to find ways where I can work with more people to ship something bigger out. Like right now, like for this year, my focus is on this developing a game on Delhi. Like there's this book called Twilight in Delhi, which was actually written um, right. It was written before the partition, but it was published right after the partition. And the writer lost their home in Delhi, like which they wrote about. And it's a romantic story which is set in like Delhi when it was like in Hindustan, not like pre-partition. Um, so I'm just very interested in doing something like that. That be like I'm just yeah, let's see, like step by step. But I think I want to create with more people. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Anything else you want to share which we've not covered?
Hmm, I think we've covered most aspects. But yeah, I'm also very interested in game poetics, like how we can like write maybe game poetry and like what it could look like. Yeah, and yeah, I think that's mostly it.
Any games you want to recommend for Rig and Yugen?
There is this game called, I think I told you, Ambika Storyteller is very fun.
Oh wait, no, but that was a bit too. It was not appropriate for you. Exactly.
Acha, yeah, that's true. But Venba is a good game. Venba is a good
What's
game.
the spelling?
Venba.
Well,
So it's by Indian developers, and it's basically um it's again yeah so you basically are trying to recreate your mother's lost Tamilian recipes, and yeah, you just have to like it's a cooking game,
oh,
but
interesting.
not sure if you.
Okay, you can try this.
It's
Story
a
begins in
cooking
1988.
game.
Yeah, it was. I saw it in the news quite a bit.
Even Dot's Home will be good. Dot's Home.
Okay, dot song.
Hmm. So I would have to remember if the
This one which she showed
This one
fairly.
she was showing.
hmm.
She's recommending games for your age. But what is it?
What happens in this game? He's asking. In Dot's home.
So what happens is that there is time travel involved. Um, and she basically finds out what her family has been through in like the last 3 generations, and how that impacts her real life. Like right now, there is a housing crisis, or like does she like the choices that she gets to make, and how that plays out because of like it's impacted because of what happened to her grandmother or what happened to her mother, and what are the decisions she can make right now to maybe change the story. So that is, yeah, that's one game.
Any other Indian game designers, games we should look out for?
Uh, Wait, what was this? There's Fishbowl, right? I think there is this. Um, what's the name?
Because it's Ria.
It's a studio. Yeah, Ria is running. Yeah. So that is something that I want to play with. There's also this Palace on the Hill game.
Want to share your
Um,
screen?
yeah, let me just share my screen. Uh, this one. So this is set in 90s rural India, and I haven't played it, but it came out last year. But it's by Niku Games. Um, and I think this is mostly like a lot like Stardew Valley. If someone's played like kind of like Stardew Valley, where you keep on doing some daily task. But the whole setup is set in 90s rural India. Yeah.
So I have one more question. Like Lisa Burata and Rick said, I would still prefer NFS. So games, like okay. So what's your thought on promotion? Like what are they promoting? Competition or collaboration? And what is the designer's role in where they are taking the society with games? What's their moral responsibility or ethical responsibility there?
Uh, so I think with every game it's different. So for example, with like Palace on the Hill, it would just be an idle game where, a person who's playing this can find a way to relax, like very much like Stardew Valley. You kind of make friends, you cut your grass, you have tea. And I think when you do it in a place where there are other people involved as well, I think it's just a way for you to feel less alone in the world. And I think just for competitive games, I think a lot of them are based on either skill building or building camaraderie or friendship. And improving a certain skill. And I think it depends, right? Like what game you're making and what is exactly the point of it. Is it in a commercial setting, or is it just for your personal work? Or what is the exact objective that you're creating the game for with? Um, that is one. And what was the second question on the moral responsibility of game designers, is it?
Yeah, because you are promoting certain behavior with games, right? So,
Right. You know, actually, my perspective on like moral responsibility of any media is actually like, I don't think, I mean, I feel that, you know, like let's forget games, right? Like, but any media. For example, if I watch a movie, which really angers me, right? And but I feel that these, like, you know, I would never still say that okay, this is a this game designer or like this designer or this filmmaker should be put to stake because that's their point of view. As a society or as like people consuming it, it's a reflection, like the kind of games that are celebrated or the kind of movies that are celebrated is a reflection of the society in that current time or under that political situation, right? Like, for example, if an animal is celebrated in this time, I think I still wouldn't say like, you know, filmmaker ko maro. I would be like, okay, as a society, where have we come that, okay, cinema like this is appreciated. So I wouldn't put the responsibility
ooh,
on the designer because there are lots of kinds of people, lots of kinds of game designers who will always keep on expressing themselves. So I wouldn't say that in this world and NFS shouldn't exist or only idle games should exist. I don't like ascribe to that should or should not philosophy. Um so yeah, that's like a yeah, that's my perspective on just like moral responsibility of art in general.
I feel like
Yeah.
for us, for example, you and I as the parents in the room, that just the way we cop what they're watching on YouTube or what they're watching on TV, we have to know what games they are playing. That is really the way forward because we
Hmm.
discovered them as young people when our parents didn't even know what a computer was. But this generation, we are the ones giving them the tools, so it's on us how we ensure that the sort of can play and consume things which we sort of have a resonance with. अब वो
Yeah.
eventually NFS उसने discover कर लिया तो that's him or
and I'm
whoever,
not talking
yeah.
about NFS, I'm just
हाँ,
in general, right? So, when we are
Yeah.
working with children, we are actually making the future of the world.
right.
And it's as parents, as educators, as elders, it's our responsibility to give them that moral and ethical compass so that whatever they create in future that aligns with certain with their own ethical compass. Like I'm not
Yeah.
everybody who's
Correct.
doing whatever, they're not doing something that they don't believe in. They
Yeah.
really think that they're doing the right thing. And it may be right or wrong, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
इसमें मुझे
But there is Games for Change and like other organizations. So like in fact at my organization also we created like a catalog of approved games that can be used for social emotional learning or can be used for children. Similarly, internationally there are more organizations that are doing such kind of work like Common Sense Media on defining, you know, what what would be an appropriate game and what exactly, like, you know, it can be used to teach in a classroom or even in like a one-on-one parental setting. I think people are still like making like doing a lot of work in this regard, and I think there's yeah a lot more can be done, but like definitely check out Games for Change .org ka catalog. They keep on, so every year they release new games that can be used for health, well-being, climate, all of these kind of things. Even UNEP Playing for Planet is doing a lot of work in terms of they started running this call for commercial games and how can you alter it so that it's like the playable, exciting part of the game exists, but the harmful parts of the game, how can they be cut off and it can be used to teach something good. Yeah.
Cool. ठीक है. Now you will miss what we are going to have, which is tea.
Oh no.
Just thanks for your time. I think it was really nice, and thanks the others who joined online as well. I don't know the next one. I think next one is now for the coming Saturday, which is 24th, I believe. I'm very bad at this number stuff. So, which will be Divya and Charutak, who are a sister
Ooh,
as well.
I've met
And
Charu.
we will talk about how they built 6 games in one month or some really crazy intense thing that they tried. But also they are like one is a designer and one is a developer as sisters. That's very interesting, like how their dynamic is as siblings. So that will be cool. So please rejoin. I will send you registration, etc. Blah blah blah. But thanks, Anurati. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Giving us a very interesting perspective on gaming. I think you had one question.
No, I didn't have a question. I was just responding.
Okay. So we'll take that off.
Yeah.
Chalo, thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you, Anurati. Thank you.
Thank you. It was lovely meeting all of you, talking to you. Thank you so much for coming. Bye bye. मुझे भी चाय दे दो.
टमाटर बना देंगे. Thanks, Shalin, Anushka, Nachiketa.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
हम लोग जल्दी से suitable bot खेल रहे हैं. It said that you have to switch on the audio for correct. So I'm a lonely bot, and all of you